they're all the same low effort grifters that just like the Twitter mongers, you know, the people who just make money by getting attention, not by like providing substantial reporting or by telling the truth, but by crafting narratives, right?
I gotta say, it's pretty perfect timing because I actually, I have another show called Scam Economy that covers cryptocurrency, and it covers it in a way that not many other shows cover crypto. It is a strictly anti-crypto show. And this past episode that dropped on Sunday, I had on one of the guys, like really the main guy, who helped put together the Aid for Ukraine crypto donation program over there. Mm-hmm. And he came on to try to really give us a behind the scenes look into how that all came together. And he wanted to talk with me specifically to try to dispel that insane conspiracy theory that alleges that Joe Biden,
the money wash FTX story. Dude, so many people have jumped on this nonsense, and they're doing it with there's no paper trail, there's no record of money there's nothing at all tying FTX to Ukraine outside of, as far as I'm aware, is the fact that they basically turned cryptocurrency into fiat currency to like donate to like aid groups or like certain parts of the country. That's it. There's no evidence of anything else as far as I'm aware, but everybody's repeating the claim, like even Congress people.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, there was. I saw off the top of my head, Madison Cawthorn, which I guess really shouldn't be a surprise.
Former Congressman.
Well, no, he still is until January, I believe. Right? Yeah.
He lost the primary. You're right.
Yeah. And Josh Hawley, not digging deep into this specific conspiracy theory involving Ukraine, but still alleging, without saying the word Ukraine, that billions of dollars were funneled by FTX to the Democratic Party.
Well, the Libertarian Party, the National Libertarian Party. And the thing that was crazy about the National Libertarian Party, they tweeted out an image that also included an anti-Semitic depiction of Zelensky doing like the Jewish merchant like hand thing.
Oh,
and so it added a little anti-Semitic sprinkle on top for all of their lovely supporters. I went to the Students for Liberty conference in Miami to speak about Ukraine, and it's a libertarian conference. But I would say Students for Liberty, I would say, are if someone was to actually define them, classical liberal is the actual, like, they're the only person I would actually say they actually seem like actual classical liberals. Everybody else just calls themselves classical liberal. What they really mean is, hello, I'm racist. But the thing is, I was there, and the whole time I was there, they're like, the whole time I'm talking to people in private, I won't call anybody out specifically, but the whole time it's like, our party's it's in the shitter. Fucking people aren't signing up. The Mises Caucus is running into the ground. They're embarrassing us. We don't know why these Twitter accounts are doing this. Justin Amash spoke there, was even shitting on the Libertarian Party's Twitter account, and it was almost a consensus from anybody who had a pulse there that the Libertarian Party is crashing and burning currently. I mean, they're actually talking about selling. They're actually the thing is, before they didn't have anything to crash and burn. Now they have like a $300 car to crash and burn. They're actually talking about selling their office in DC, their physical office in DC. How embarrassing is that for a political party?
I gotta say, nothing will ever be greater than that moment where the one libertarian who would be able to be, because he has been a mainstream political candidate, not good, obviously, but the most mainstream a libertarian can get, Gary Johnson, going out there and saying, I do think that people should have to wear seatbelts. That's what I do think people should have to wear seatbelts when they drive. And the entire crowd at the Libertarian conference going, boo!
How dare you? How dare you? The thing is, it's and there seems to be a consensus in the people I talk to that like the Libertarian Party gets itself caught up in like stupid squabbles, which is true. It does not know how to like pick a fight, like pick a hill to die on.
Right. The conspiracy makes zero sense because if you're gonna launder money like that as a known entity, crypto is probably the worst way to do it because all the transactions are on the blockchain. And if you're dealing with billions of dollars, there are literal like automated systems set up that track the flow of large sums of money on various blockchains. The accounts that have these large sums are called crypto whales, and there's like alerts that go out when the money moves. Second of all, I have after interviewing the guy, he's the CEO of this Ukrainian crypto company, Everstake, along with heading up the Aid for Ukraine program. He sent me the documents that show, like I have, I can't publish them because it's, that's what they're private documents, but he showed me the documents that show the transactions from bank account to bank account and all the transactions on the blockchain that coincide with those bank account transactions. What we have here is crypto donations that were sent from outside parties to Ukraine needed to be converted into fiat currency for the suppliers who would not accept crypto. Early on, they couldn't do that in Ukraine because there were regulations and bans on cross-border payments when the war first started. So FTX reached out with a legal team saying, we'll help you do this, and work directly with the National Bank of Ukraine so that a few of the crypto donations were sent to FTX. FTX immediately converted into fiat currency and then sent the fiat currency to the National Bank of Ukraine. I've seen the documents. National Bank of Ukraine back in March even confirmed the amount they received. The total amount of money that FTX ever received in crypto donations to Ukraine, which they converted to fiat currency and then immediately sent to the National Bank of Ukraine, the total amount was just over $1.5 million. Now, I don't know about people who are good at math, but $1.5 million is well below the around $40 million that SBF donated to various political campaigns through his PACs. It's well below the $27 million that a right-wing FTX executive sent to various Republicans. It's well below the billions being alleged were funneled through FTX to Democrats.
People are saying as if we send our aid, it gets transferred through SPX and then goes to Ukraine. That FTX is not involved in this isn't like federal government aid. Right? I think a lot of people, because they think it's a government transfers money. This is like private donors, as far as I'm aware, correct? Private crypto donors.
Yes. These were private individuals who, when, I don't know if people remember, to me, this is just general information because I was covering this like crazy when this started because there were so many crypto grifters trying to take advantage of the situation in Ukraine.
Always.
So I was completely plugged in when this was going on. But basically, in the early days of when Russia first invades Ukraine, Ukraine first comes out and says they're not accepting crypto. All of a sudden, all these crypto people are complaining, and then Russia has this agency. Not Russia. Ukraine has this agency within it called the Ministry of Digital Transformation. That's basically a bunch of tech dudes who work for the government of Ukraine and try to get them to modernize and hop on whatever the latest technology is. As my guest on Scam Economy explained it to me, it's literally just a handful of people, no more than a dozen guys working in a basement or something. It's not the biggest agency in Ukraine. It's just this ad hoc group of people trying to get this stuff to work. So they basically convinced the government to accept crypto donations. They threw up a bunch of wallets that accepted different cryptocurrencies on Twitter. People started donating. There was a bunch of drama around that. That's, again, go check out Scam Economy. I have episodes on what happened early on with the grifters trying to take advantage of Ukraine. But long story short, they needed all the suppliers were accepting crypto. Some of them did, but not all of them would. And they were able to deal with people who donated from within Ukraine, but people from outside Ukraine, they needed a way to transfer that money into fiat currency. And that's where FTX came in and helped out there. I mean, it's Ukraine. First of all, the Joe Biden administration never dealt with FTX in that way. The Democratic Party never dealt with FTX in that way. The Ukrainian government never sent any of their funds to FTX. Around $1.5 million of donations in crypto sent to Ukraine from other people outside third parties. That money was sent through FTX so they could exchange it into fiat currency, where they then went ahead and deposited it in the National Bank of Ukraine for the Ukrainian government to use.
So the thing is about this is the people who are reposting this conspiracy theory about FTX seem to always be the same. I'm sorry, I changed cameras, so low quality in comparison, but they change. They're all the same low effort grifters that like just like the Twitter mongers, you know, the people who just make money by getting attention, not by like providing substantial reporting or by telling the truth, but by crafting narratives, right? And wherever there's a narrative to be crafted, they will take the opportunity, no matter how truthful it is or isn't. But do you know where this conspiracy originated? When did people start saying all of a sudden, oh, Ukraine's at fault somehow for FTX? Because I started seeing like Russian officials start talking about this. Like, that's going pretty far.
There was a press release that was posted on CoinDesk's website. You know, CoinDesk, the news outlet that covers crypto, they do a lot of good work, especially in the past like year or two. I would say they really like have been on top of this stuff. They basically ran a news story about this press release that came out that announced when FTX joined forces with the Ukrainian crypto companies Everstake and Kuna to basically form this Aid for Ukraine program. That was it. It was an announcement of a partnership between FTX and Aid for Ukraine. And I don't know who the first individual was. I do know one of the earliest right-wing outlets to run it was Gateway Pundit. I don't know if he was the first overall.
Of course.
But he was the first I saw running it. And they basically saw this CoinDesk story that back in March, FTX partners with the Ukrainian crypto companies to form Aid for Ukraine. FTX was, as I understand it from the administrator of the program, who I interviewed, they basically had no role after that $1.5 million or so was exchanged, because the Ukrainian government and the banks over there quickly lifted those regulations and bans on cross-border payments. And that's when the Ukrainian companies themselves, like Kuna, a Ukrainian-based crypto exchange, was basically able to just take over and do the actual, fiat currency exchanges and deposits to the National Bank of Ukraine. Overall in total, when it comes to crypto donations to Ukraine, it was only around, $60 million or so. So even that is well below the billions of dollars. And when it comes to the amount actually that they worked with FTX on, again, was 1.5 million. I mean, the numbers are not adding up here. And on top of all that, the ridiculousness of literally a country at war with a much larger, nation that has way more resources, and they're gonna just funnel these billions of dollars outside of their country instead of using it for their own survival. It makes zero sense.
It doesn't make sense, and there's no evidence to back it up. It's just what I would usually see is, and what I always ask for evidence is somebody would just like produce a graph, and the graph would just show like Joe Biden, then aligned to FTX, then aligned to Ukraine, then aligned back to Joe Biden. Like, that's it. That's the only, just like, they're just going into the picture editor and making graphs of things that don't exist. And there was never any evidence to substantiate it. And so I think what this shows is there really is a demand amongst, I think, because this was picked up a lot by the online right. There really seems to be a demand, particularly in online, hardcore populist, anti-establishment communities, for like anti-Ukraine content. Just anything that could ever paint Ukraine in a bad light, even if it's completely unrelated to Ukraine, like this FTX story. Really, they got to find some way to not only implicate Joe Biden in the massive money laundering scheme, but also the Ukrainians while defending themselves. They're like a devious actor behind every act. Like the Ukrainians are acting deviously in some manner, and I don't understand it, because like there are legitimate criticisms you can make of the Ukrainian government of things that they've done that you could point to, but instead they just focus on fairy tales. I don't know why. I think honestly, I can't say I don't know why. I think the reason why is if they're not dishonest about Ukraine, then their position on Ukraine looks a lot, shittier.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for this specific conspiracy theory, I think it was just the obvious connection of Joe Biden to the guy running a Ponzi scheme. This is a huge story in the tech, business, and financial world. The fall of one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world, and all this information coming out. Like, this is a huge scandal, and rightfully so. The FTX definitely was doing something wrong here, and it seems like the allegations of criminal activity do bear out here. They were running a Ponzi scheme. This is a scam. And there are connections with Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of FTX, also known as SBF for short. There are connections with SBF to the political world, specifically the Democratic Party, too. He was a donor to the Democratic Party. He was a big donor to them. But what people leave out there is he was mostly a donor to the Democratic Party in the primary races, where he ran his own candidates against many incumbent Dems. In fact, one of his candidates in Oregon, out of the $36 or $37 million,
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When you say ran their own candidates, was it like he went out there and found these people and asked them to run, or like he saw like challengers and he was like, I like this guy, I'm gonna back him?
Combination of both. For example, this guy specifically. Let me pull up the exact thing. One second. Okay, so SBF liked to call himself an effective altruist. Effective altruism was his whole motto, and that thought process is that you live in this world, and this is ridiculous to anyone who has any sort of left-wing politics, but this is how people who want to be very rich try to launder progressive politics in their own weird, sick world. That the goal of effective altruism is to make as much money as possible so you can then use it to do good in the world. I mean, gross bullshit. That never works out. I mean, we know why they want it. It's basically a way of saying don't criticize me for hoarding as much money as possible. I promise I'm only doing it because I want to do good with it. But so he basically, this guy, Carrick Flynn in Oregon, he ran this guy, Carrick Flynn, who also was an effective altruism believer. Like that was his whole thing that he ran on too. So in this case,
he ran on effective altruism.
Yes.
How do you run on
like that? Was like
altruism?
It was like their whole thing. Like it's this whole weird thing in like the weird like VC entrepreneur world. It's this whole. I'm not even that familiar with it. I just know of it from SBF, honestly. But this guy, Carrick Flynn, out of the $37 million that SBF donated overall to Democrats and Republicans, overall, his overall political donations, $37 million in 2022. $10.5 million of that money went to Carrick Flynn for his failed primary campaign.
10.5
million. Yes.
How
so one guy got like a quarter or so of all the money SBF ended up donating overall in 2022 to elections.
How did he perform?
He lost. I'm not sure what the actual he lost though. Let me pull up on. I found the Ballotpedia here. Let's see. Oh, he did. He ran the U.S. House district in Oregon, District 6. He ran against, there was a bunch of candidates. Andrea Salinas won with 36.3% of the vote. Carrick Flynn came in second with 18.3% of the vote.
Wow, not even like half. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he got just over 11,000 votes.
Wow. Yeah, I guess saying like, hello, I just want us to get so rich that we can just give our money away isn't like a very effective campaign. How do you even sell that to the American people? My policy is that I hope that rich people can make more money and then eventually they'll help. I don't understand. Like, how do you even sell that as a campaign strategy? In Ohio?
Okay, so the basics of effective altruism, according to effectivealtruism.org.
Oh, of course.
Is effective altruism is a research field and practical community that aims to find the best ways to help others and put them into practice. So I guess that's the generic way of describing it. But when it comes to SBF's version of it, it was to make as much money as possible so then he can use it for good. I mean, we now know that he
doesn't really work if you're causing harm by the way you're making the money.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would say it's interesting because as he's saying this, we now know that he raised money from outside investors, something like 400 something million, and in one of their investment rounds. And out of that 400 something million dollars that SBF raised, he personally paid himself something like $300 million from that.
Oh my God.
He was using FTX's funds, like his business's money, to buy hundreds of millions of dollars worth of property in the Bahamas, for personal use for himself and his parents. They bought a bunch of like condos, I believe I read, to rent out. And I mean, this is effective altruism, baby. That's what it's all about.
Fucking like for his parents too. He got property for his parents as well.
Yeah, that's effective altruism, man.
Wow,
just helping other people.
It's
all
very
about
altruistic.
Other people.
It's all very altruistic. Hey, 1.5 million though. That was very kind of him. 1.5 million.
Well, that's not even his money. That was just
you're right. He was just a platform. It'd be like PayPal saying, "We will allow you to donate using our platform." That's the effectiveness. That's basically what he did.
Right.
Oh
I mean, I guess
God.
maybe they covered the transaction fees. I don't quote me on that. It's possible they even deducted the transaction
Didn't
fees.
this guy like wasn't there like an article about he played World of Warcraft during like investor meetings?
League of Legends.
It was League of Legends. He played
I know
League of
nothing
Legends
about
during
that
investor
game,
meetings. So what was the idea during that? Like they would just walk up to him and he would be playing League of Legends and he's just like, yeah, so just give me your money or whatever. Like
he would be on as like Zoom calls and be like playing it while talking with them over Zoom or whatever. And like the reason it came out is because like an employee or something walked by him and saw him playing League of Legends on his phone or what. I don't even know where you play League of Legends, honestly, but that's the story, that he would play while apparently though.
Hey, that's labor that deserves $300 million of investor money. He was working hard. I bet he was diamond.
Honestly, that's in fact, he was like, I don't know if that, I'm guessing you're referring to like the levels in League of Legends. Apparently he only was like a level 2 bronze or something.
Damn.
He was really bad at it, apparently. I saw someone point out that, and I don't know what this means. AOC could be a great League of Legends player, but this is something I saw someone else say, that he was like multiple levels under AOC. And I'm sure she has a lot less time to play it than apparently SBF had.
Jesus Christ. Does that mean she needs like a $300 million raise or $400 million because she's better than him, obviously?
Right. See, here's the amazing thing though. Like to me, that's the least unlikable thing about him. Hey, if you can bilk these dumbass VCs over Zoom or whatever to give you hundreds of millions of dollars for your company while you're half-assing it playing video games, then power to you, man. I don't mind that shit. It's the stealing from the retail investors, your customers, your everyday people who put their money on your platform and using those funds to essentially gamble it away via your hedge fund, which is what he did, and then also use that money to buy property in the Bahamas for your personal use and your family. Like that's the shit that gets me.
Look, he was gonna give the Bahamas, okay? He was gonna give those properties to like refugees from Ukraine, okay? We were in talks. We were in deep talks. It was effective altruism. He wanted them to have a nice time when they came back from the war.
Right. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to make sure that everything. Yeah, he was saving up for that. Right. Oh my God.